who is now the founder of thehappy.org. Haley loved cooking when she was a little girl, and she would always be in the kitchen. And her father was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. After that, she was always enthusiastic about healthy cooking and eating. And when she was 12 years old, she realized that other little black children her age had been projected to have a higher rate of diabetes and other diseases more than their parents due to a lack of proper nutrition. So she founded Happy. Happy, healthy, active, positive, and purposeful youth. And now her organization helps more than 15,000 young people per year, teaching them how to cook and eat in a healthy fashion. So, what about you? What have you experienced? What has made a positive difference in your life? When we had that expo last year, many people were surprised. We didn't think that so many Vincentians had so many abilities and so many interesting ideas. Artisans are amazing in this country. What if we brought your experiences as a Vincentian to the forefront? That can not only be a unique and discovery for those outside of St. Vincent, but Vincentians can make a living by engaging in activities that we can take pride in as Awiting. Buy and sell things that are uniquely Vincentian. Our food, our dress, our art, our dance, our drama, our folk tales, our music, our literature, our plants, our animals, our mountainous terrain, and yes, our black sand beaches. Our culture is built on what is here. Our lives are a product of what is here. Let us treasure what's ours. After all, our culture is a backdrop for experiences that help shape our thoughts and who we are. As an entrepreneur, you need to discover the easiest way for you to share what you're passionate about. So you will need a platform and resources. Write down your needs and have an active plan and goals. Always research. Check out what is available. Use every tool you have for research. A great modern platform, as mentioned many times, social media, YouTube, Instagram, well, Facebook, but okay, so you can easily vlog, teach classes, or create a video production about your experiences in SVG. For other projects, you may need a physical room or a storefront. You could have a team of people who are motivated to do something about the same social issues you are concerned about, specifically in SVG. In order to be a successful entrepreneur, there must be 3 pillars in place, supported by active research: a personal pillar, an educational pillar, and a financial pillar. So, the personal pillar. Everyone needs emotional support. This is a profound human need. Surround yourself with people or that one person who gives you encouragement and believes in you. They will help you keep going when the time gets tough. It is also important to give emotional support. Be someone who actively and consistently advocates for others. This not only helps you make a sincere difference in your community, this directly affects your culture, and it also helps you to find your own voice and learn how to promote your own desires. The educational pillar. Never reject knowledge. Never reject knowledge, even if you disagree with it. In fact, actively pursue knowledge. It is always better to know factual information than to not know anything at all. Always be wary of gossip and rumors, and be willing to test what people say. Take every opportunity to learn. Anything and everything can always be applied to something else in an innovative way. Therefore, teachers are the most valuable asset for our economy and for cultural progress and in your life. Respect them. Do not resist them. They are giving you the tools you need to become more than what you can see in yourself right now. Seek out a mentor in the field of your interest. They don't have to do exactly what you do, but with a mentor you can learn a lot about hands-on experiences in your field of interest. They must take an honest interest in your progress and your work and be willing to give wise advice. And if you have an opportunity to further your education formally and are satisfied with your research about the school or university, take it. And even if you can't travel or take more formal classes, the library is there. Reading good literature can make you real smart, real fast. Your knowledge, communication, and language skills, among other skills, will improve dramatically simply by reading critically acclaimed literature or informational books. Normal people are capable people. Do not shortchange yourself. Financial pillar. Because you are worth it, and because you will be giving back to your community, you deserve to be fairly paid. Know your monetary value. Carefully and fairly set your prices and put them in writing. Know how much discount you are willing to give ahead of time and be willing to amend your policies if things need to change. As we, the people of SVG, move forward and come up with ideas, it's the government's job to provide the means and access to resources. We should be arming our people for the limited job situation, giving them the tools to create jobs themselves. I would ask our leaders to put their faith and trust in the intelligence and passion of the Vincentian people, and I would ask the Vincentian people to do the same. If you are valuable, then your neighbor is valuable. If your neighbor is valuable, then your culture is valuable. So it is important to be active in your community. So, what does a successful entrepreneur look like? A successful entrepreneur is a person of integrity. Everything you are, everything your neighbor is, makes up your culture. An important thing to remember is that your neighbor is a person of worth too. A person of integrity knows that everyone has something to contribute. This is what makes culture, our culture, priceless. We, the people of St. Vincent, with something to offer the world, make it up. So we owe it. We owe it to ourselves and to our neighbor and to our culture to put in the effort to make SVG a better place for us. If someone is more capable than you, great. They can be an excellent asset to you and SVG, whether they work with you or add to the field creating awareness. If you are better, great. Then you now have the God-given ability to lift someone else up. We all do this in a spirit of humility, gratitude, and respect. Everyone will gain in this way. The best way to be wealthy and have a wealthy community is for wealth to circulate. Therefore, as others pay you, you pay others. Do not sabotage your neighbor and your culture. Instead, support it. Buy SVG made and bottled products in the grocery stores. Buy local art to decorate your home. Sell your best products to your fellow Vincentians first. Cheer on successful Vincentians and give them opportunities to work with you. Be fair and honest in everything you do. This way, we will have a culture where local Vincentian businesses can thrive. A successful entrepreneur is a person of excellence. Demand excellence of yourself and your work, and people will respect you and admire your culture. A simple example of integrity and excellence is use of your time. Okay? Not to step on any toes here. But in general, a person who comes to any appointment on time is a person who takes their word seriously and keeps their word and shows respect for others. People want to work and do business with those who seriously believe what they do can make a difference. You don't need to live and die by the clock, but respect the reason why it exists. A successful entrepreneur is a person who is not afraid to fail. Oprah failed at news television because she was too emotional. But that very empathic part of her is what made her the greatest talk show host of the 20th century. According to Oprah, by the time she was 6 years old, she knew her Bible because of her grandmother. So much so that Oprah already knew who she was. Oprah knew who Oprah was. She knew her value. She went to American kindergarten, and according to her, she saw what the little white kids were doing, and she said, She went to the teacher and said, I could do better than that. And proved it, and got promoted. She knew who she was. It starts when you decide that you will reach for it. Many black people, especially young black women, are discouraged from active and vocally pursuing their goals. Don't let them or your doubts tell you who you are. Take that leap of faith. Faith is believing in the goodness of God and reaching for it, even when it is not always the most obvious. Any trained scientists of any scientific field have long-term plans that include failure. They plan for their projects and experiments to fail, because to succeed is to fail, analyze, learn from it, and repeat. Once you figure out the equilibrium necessary for your project or idea to work, that failure would have meant something. People judge our culture, what we have and who we are, by how we perceive and present those very things to them. Let the world know Vincentian value and culture by working with integrity and excellence out of who you are. Thank you.
At this time, we're going to invite Ronaldo Brown to give us a musical rendition. And as he comes, just to recap, and she indeed shared a mouthful in that short space of time, she said, find something of value to share, and that is you. She asked the question, what have you experienced? What has made a positive impact in your life? Find the easiest way to share what you are passionate about. Learn to give. Never reject knowledge. Know your value, and oft repeated, support local. Cultivate a culture of excellence. And she gave a definition of success that I find to be very interesting. To succeed is to fail, analyze, and repeat. Indeed, she has given us much to think about, and we will now enjoy our youngster as he's 10 years, I'm told, as he plays for us this afternoon. Indeed, very talented, and I'm sure a budding entrepreneur. At this time, we're going to invite he is a member of Parliament for Central Kingston, and he is the Shadow Minister of Trade, Industry, Disaster Management, and Labor, and he brings a wealth of experience and knowledge to the Democratic Party. People of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, contribution to the development of the St. Vincent development issues, human service to this nation. Major Leacock's on from the national level to his and has heeded the call to service such as the officer during the La Soufrière volcano eruption party to the prison riots to the security of his country. Of the popular phrase to protect and as a main contributor to the development of St. Vincent. St. Vincent and Grenadines, the Cadet Force and Auxiliary Police country. He has won several awards for the development of the football of the Employers Federation of St. Vincent and Grenadines. Major Leacock holds of the West Indies, a master's in business administration from founder and manager of Vinci Clean. Let's put our hands together.
Thank you very much. It's people and to that have been explaining the important subject of entrepreneurialism in the Caribbean, and I've been particularly colleague on her Jamaican experience, and I think it gives a very good and healthy contrast with what obtains in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and also found the comparative presentations from my young friend from Beckway. Yes. I had a little difficulty in determining precisely how I would present this evening, in that Dr. Friday is in the audience, and I'm sure that he would say that he sent me here as a representative of the party. Perspective. I'll try to squeeze that in a minute or two. But I think a good place for me to start this evening is on my day. I tried to get out of the house very early. This morning was no exception. By 6 I was out, and before I moved out to the yard, I checked my WhatsApp messages, and I discovered that I had 2 deaths in the constituency. And quite naturally, I went visiting both homes before I went about my own business. That's in the Sharps community. So that disposed of, I continued on my daily program. Today is my day to walk in Lago Heights. And I'm one of those politicians that kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I walk, exercise, and serve my community. And I get to the end of the constituency every day. So for this evening discussion, I draw on Lago Heights because I want to comment on 2, 3, or 4 examples that came out of it. First of all, as you got opposite to the big yard, the area that's noted there are a set of youngsters who every day come out and they mount their local fruit juices, whether it is passion fruit, golden apple, mango, or whatever is in the season, they're there bottling the juices, and they're plying their trade, selling it to the passers-by and to the van drivers. Great initiative. A little higher up the road, they're the guy who's welding and doing service for the guys who are doing the minivans, and a little further beyond him, there was another yard in which the guy had taken a garage and was welding and making steel doors for, I would assume, people in the community who wanted to secure their homes. I say all that while ignoring the existence of other businesses that virtually have all closed now. Those who have the little shops and ply their Guinness and their malt and their Hyroon and their grocery items are dying business. But it demonstrates that enterprise is alive and well. Now, this is where I have little variances with my colleagues, not disagreement. But I am guarded in separating enterprising conduct from entrepreneurial conduct. It is easy to believe that they are one and the same. Because you're enterprising, you are in business, you're instinctively or automatically an entrepreneur. I don't think it is necessarily so. I think entrepreneurialism has also a higher order, and some of that came out in the presentations. That determination to be risk-taking, but not just risk-taking, but risk-taking in a way that you would also be able to sustain your business activity. In other words, not going to be a flash in the pan and away with it tomorrow. It's, yes, a lot of fire in your belly, but it is also a representation of fairly deep consideration of satisfying a felt need, a vacancy within the community. If you listen very carefully to the presentation that came forward, and I'm in agreement with my young lawyer friend out of Jamaica. Jamaica has a unique culture. I mean, they simply at times appear to be fearless. And this is manifested in the several areas of success in music, athletics, and so on and so forth. As a matter of fact, she takes me back to the days when I was a young cadet. I don't want to call the years, in the 60s. And I had some experience at the upper camp on Monique, training with the Defense Force. When down here in these parts, we're literally speaking, be afraid of the Jamaican military. Until I myself went to Jamaica as a military and found that all man is man and treated Jamaicans the same way. But just to draw out your story, I recall in a particular hotel as well where there was some racial prejudice. Every time a Jamaican came into the pool, everybody left. The Jamaican said, well, I'll come with my meals and I'll come all in bed. And if all you don't want to come in here, nobody can be here today. But that's Jamaican for you. But to go back to entrepreneurialism, it's old. My dad, whom I'm very proud, and people always want to remind me, he was a coconut vendor. I remember in the days when he not only bought coconuts that was brought to Kingston by the rowing boats in crocus bag. People would know what's the crocus bag, they wouldn't know what's a flour bag, but that's when they had the old coaster bags and where sugar and so forth came, and perhaps rice, Jerry, you know. But he thought that if he was going to sell the coconuts, then he could also put them in the ice house for the Norbigo and then sell them. So he had cold coconuts, while other people had hot coconuts. Well, clearly his coconuts were the ones that were in demand. And he also discovered if you left them a little longer, you could also have frozen coconut water. So he also could charge a little bit more for his coconuts than the other guys could at the time because they were cold and sometimes they were frozen, so he was distinguishing. My own mom, I recall her pleasure, turning her ice cream tub. Those don't exist anymore, selling ice cream, the price of 10 cents. In fact, she would go to prep school where I attended and donate all the proceeds to a fair. But in the community of Montrose from which we came, there were a lot of people in the middle class. It was a middle class community where people were too busy, the doctors, the lawyers, the permanent secretaries, to home bake their bread. And therefore, she would home bake their bread on weekends, and we would deliver those bread and sell them in the community, and we made quite a good living. I must tell you that to do that, it meant that on Fridays, my brothers and I would have to take the bread pan on our head from Montrose to the bakery in Middle Street and have them baked and stay there to recover them at the end of the night. Now, that's entrepreneurialism, but some of it also at our own expense, because in the eyes of some of the social class at the time, the children were not just the same as their equal. That's a story for another time to be continued. But it's entrepreneurialism, how we got there. Perhaps it's jealousy of what they did when I left university nearly 40 years ago. I decided that I could clean the bank myself. And so I took the domestic who was working with us, and I went every Saturday to clean Scotiabank. That's 40 years ago. Today I'm still cleaning Scotiabank. I've many times overbought vehicles and developed myself. And now I clean all of the commercial banks, save and except the government bank, which you could understand I would not get, in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And emerged to be the largest janitorial firm. In fact, when I was ceremoniously fired from Vinlec 20 years ago, as the manager of human at the high end of my career, that is management consultancy, but I'll go at the low end of mop and broom, and it has kept me safe. And I believe Dr. Friday has a room for me when he wins government tomorrow. So here I am, entrepreneurialism practiced. But intellectual and academic. In the Caribbean society, and again the contrast is important, and you have to be slow and careful with the contrast, because you heard the explanations of Jamaica and how the typical Jamaican works, and the size of the Jamaican economy, 1 million tourists in 9 months, in 9 weeks, sorry, but look at the exchange rate. $1 to 100 something Jamaican, which means that an EC dollar is about 60 something, nearly $60 Jamaican. But again, you can't be fooled and to compare the economy of St. Vincent and the Grenadines with that of Jamaica, because it could be, in fact, our Prime Minister often does that with Trinidad and Tobago. Give the impression that Trinidad has not, we have not gone to the IMF and Trinidad has gone, so we're the same economies. Well, clearly that's not the case. But the dynamics is as such that it points out to the fact that across the Caribbean, one of the factors that have impacted negatively the growth and development of our entrepreneurs are, and I think I heard the reference made today, socio-economic problems. And we can't ignore that. That is social, the way we as people are organized and exist, and our relationship one to the other, over colors, class, and creed, is an important factor. So that nobody has to tell you that in Trinidad, in Barbados, for example, black people run government and white people run the economy. In St. Vincent, as was referenced a while ago, it is still the case that us, black people, want the umbilical cord of the colon tide. We want to be the doctors, lawyers, and accountants in the economy. But business still remains, and I do not say this in a pejorative sense, in Portuguese hands. All of the top businesses that are successful in St. Vincent and Grenadines are Portuguese run and family based. They're not even broad based, and they're not going to let you in. The Graves eat every day for lunch. And they send the next generation to train and study in the next opportunity that's available. So I say this emphatically with respect to the St. Vincent economy. If there is an opportunity to make a lot of money, and indeed there are opportunities to make money, two of the important features you can know immediately. One, you will have to do it yourself. And two, you will have to work very hard. Because if it was not so, those who had money would have filled that vacancy that was there. Oba, I'm very uncertain as to whether there's a future for the small man to make money out of marijuana when the medical thing comes. Because money, the interest is going to move into it. Well, I may be wrong, but I hope that a lot of money comes out of it. Because I think the money came when there was risk taking. The truth of the matter is that we do have to address the socio-cultural problems in our society. problems of society. And if you go across the Caribbean with respect to entrepreneurialism, you can see that there are different over different races and over different classes. If you stay right here in St. Vincent de Grenadines, we all know, and you choose any part of it, there's no longer the Irish child or the families of. There's no G.W. Frank and Sons or the families of. There's no R&D of. There are no, who was another big family there in the middle of the street? The Cumberbatch or the families of. There are people of a language when they're private you don't know or hear or can't speak. And what prevented us, Vincentians, to have been the major owners? Another was a 6-inch block. They could have demolished it and have one long stretch and created the biggest mall in Kingstown and have a collective ownership and generations would have continued. They didn't do that, but they died individually and lost individually. Today, those businesses are changed for all times. They'll never come back and be fundamentally Vincentians' own. So, when we begin to speak of entrepreneurial opportunities, which I agree that they exist, I also want to be assured it is not a business that is to be formed, but also to put us in our place. That is, we must be at the bottom end of the spectrum, because there are some people who are quite comfortable. If you are doing well, but you also that you know your place, that is, as we say, you're not the same sex and size or the same class and standards as they are. So don't get too big for your boots. So that it's fine for you to see the opportunity to push a cat across some waters and to be happy after, but don't come and build the same side of house like I have in the same area that I live either. You're getting out of hand. People who push cat live there. And those things exist in our society, and we must not lose sight of them. Not making myself an example, but going back to entrepreneurialism, these are real life flesh and blood. The average entrepreneur now, who even wants to make a breakthrough, because of the size of government in our economies, still has hurdles to climb. If you take the bigger bigs experience, if you take the Marcus the Freitas experience, if you take my own experience, because I cannot work for government, I'm not here on a political forum, but that's just a harsh reality. What it says is that even when you have the best business ideas, and you go to a banker or a financial institution to carry your business forward, they may examine it and look it up and down and say, perfect, everything is in place, this thing can fly. But the bank manager may privately want to ask, but here it is back. Because they are not certain that if you don't get governmental support, that business will succeed. So businesses now have an additional hurdle to be successful or to move beyond a particular threshold. And that's one of the good reasons why it is important for the New Democratic Party to be in office, because you must remove it. That's the only politics I will slip in for the evening. So, entrepreneurialism in these parts means we also have to understand those things that are not accidents of history. It's not by chance, for example, that across the Caribbean, the rum, spirits, wines business are Portuguese controlled. That is historical. It's not accident that the food chains are controlled by the Chinese, that the clothes business are controlled by the Indians. And what's left is for the indigenous blacks in our Caribbean societies. And so the question arises as, can it be corrected? How would it be corrected? And who would correct it? How would that enabling environment be put in place? There are some things that are necessary for every entrepreneur to understand. One, how do we get access to capital? The average entrepreneur in our past may want, I'm reminded I need to get off the stage. The average entrepreneur may want to find himself, how do he get capital? While he's knocking heads around the place to compete in a business, a Syrian may decide that 5, 6 of us will lend him the money to get his business going. He doesn't have to face the bank, he'll pay back in his own time. It is therefore important that our entrepreneurs know how we get over certain capital challenges, the levels of information and information technology that we can get, the knowledge base that we have to apply, and how we should be strategic. I'll close on these two stories. Were walking through the forest, and as they were proceeding, they saw a lion approaching them. And one of the guys took off his knapsack and took out. He's going to run. The other guy says, "What are you doing? You think you could outrun a lion?" The fella said, "I ain't trying to outrun the lion, you know. I outrun." The second story is of two guys trying to fell a tree. They're trying to cut the tree down. And as often as they're chopping, one is leaving every now and then and going and come back. Eventually, the one who was leaving and come back to chop the tree, chopped down his tree faster than the other guy. But he said, "But you look, you're a hell of a man. I ain't stopped chopping. You resting and going and come back. And your tree gone on me for me." He said, you think I was resting? I was sharpening my axe." Good evening. Thank you. God bless you.
We want to thank Major Leacock for his presentation. Indeed, he emphasized that if you want to make money, the opportunity is there, but one, you must do it yourself, and you have to work hard. And I appreciate these points because, indeed, a lot of times we invest our own selves building up the empires of other people. Yes? But we have to indeed do it for ourselves, and it is very important to underscore that we must work hard. He, of course, highlighted the other social considerations that we might have to take into consideration, the economic realities, as well as political hurdles that sometimes present themselves. But we are sure that if you work hard, that you can accomplish regardless of whatever hurdles, challenges that might come your way. We now welcome our final presenter for this evening, Mrs. Rachel Brown, and she hails from the picturesque community of Tromoka in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Always a very engaging and a positive personality, Rachel was part of the initial steel pan class when it was introduced at Bishop's College, Kingstown, and was also a part of Bishop's College senior netball team and drama group. Upon leaving school, Rachel Charles worked with the St. Vincent Cooperative Bank and the National Commercial Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as it was then called. Her sojourn in the hospitality sector commenced at Young Island Resorts, and she subsequently worked as island manager of Palm Island Resorts in the Southern Grenadines. Rachel found time amidst her tight schedule to pursue a Bachelor of Science degree in Hospitality Management and an associate degree in ecotourism management. Rachel continued over the years to train and retrain herself for the dynamism of tourism marketing. She has successfully completed postgraduate work in the field and holds an executive diploma from the prestigious Cornell University. She has been involved in the development of Carnival in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, having served on the marketing committee of the Carnival Development Corporation. She was also an assistant public relations officer of the Dragons Cultural Organization and holds the distinction of being the only masquerader to win the Queen of the Bands title for 3 consecutive years, winning the title and overall 4 times, portraying the master artistry of the late Roy Ralph and the Dragons. For her contribution to our festival, she has received recognition from the former Minister of Culture. She also served St. Vincent and the Grenadines in a capacity of Head of Sales of SVG Tourism in Europe while based in the United Kingdom. In this capacity, she broke new ground in exposing St. Vincent and the Grenadines to a wider European consumer market and brought much attention to the tourism product of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Rachel Brown presently serves as the General Manager of Hermitage Bay Resort, which has each year won many international accolades, including that of Condé Nast World's Travelers, the Gold List, 100 Best Hotels in the World, and TripAdvisor Hall of Fame for excellence in the sector. It is the general consensus that Rachel is one of only 2 Caribbean women managing 5-star properties in the Caribbean. This is not Rachel Brown's only distinction in this regard. She is also a shareholder in that property, which is a hallmark of excellence and a quality tourism product. This professional does not only know how to manage, she also invests in the industry. Clearly, this speaks volumes of her commitment to the industry and her keen sense of business. While the successes she has enjoyed in the various international awards and recognitions received by Hermitage, Rachel finds equal pleasure in sharing and giving back to the community, and this point was brought out earlier. She serves as a mentor to several hospitality students and have worked closely within the Hospitality Training School in Antigua, providing internships for students, and from time to time make presentations to classes at the Institute. She is also a trustee of the Tourism Development Fund in her adopted homeland. She welcomes any opportunity to give of her expertise to St. Vincent and Grenadines, the country of her birth. Rachel Charles became Rachel Brown when in the Gambia, West Africa, she married Jerry Brown, an Antiguan who in his youth distinguished himself as a national footballer in Antigua. Rachel and her husband are the proud parents of a teenage daughter who, like her mother, has demonstrated a love for music, travel, and a profound love and care for fellow human beings and animals. Let's put our hands together as we welcome her this afternoon.
Good evening. It's always good to be home. I don't get home as often as I'd like to, but whenever I'm here, it's always a full joy moment and a party. All protocols having already been established, I shall, in the interest of time, proceed with my presentation. Firstly, I'd like to thank General Secretary Mr. James and his committee for inviting me to be a part of this all-important conversation. I'm a very passionate person by nature, and 2 of my passions are youth empowerment and travel and tourism. So when I was asked to be here, there wasn't any other consideration for me to take. It was an easy yes. As you have heard in the introduction, I am a Vincy girl. I hail from the North Leeward village of Trumuka. That's where I spent my formative years and started my primary school education. I later attended the Petersville Primary School, and I see some of my teachers here this evening. Hi, miss. And then I did my high school education at Bishop's College, Kingstown. I have not lived in St. Vincent for the past 23 years or so. And in the last 11, I've made Antigua my place of abode. But whenever I'm referring to home, it is always Trumuka, St. Vincent. Because as we say, there were my navel string berry. My brief from Mr. James initially was to speak to the positive involvement of the youth in the industry, bearing in mind the theme of the forum. In speaking with him further, he said to me, you know what, just tell your story. I was very pleased that that is the approach he wanted me to take, because I am a lover of stories. I find that they provide me with the avenue in which to see myself, or at least pieces of myself, whether through the strengths, the weakness, the triumphs, the pitfalls, in other words, the humanity of the storyteller. They also, always without fail, provide me with a profound and long-lasting impression, which have substantially proven to be valuable resources for my personal development. To this end, I have not walked with any figures and from the World Bank and graphs or anything. I'm going to tell you my story. Hopefully, some of you would find it to be of some interest. You might even see yourself in a bit of it, and it might have a long-lasting impression on at least a few of you. At present, I am the general manager of the Hermitage Bay Resort in Antigua, which is a 5-star property. And I have been told by industry professionals that I'm one of only 2 female general managers of Caribbean nationality in the region. I guess the industry professional who advised me of this is cognizant of the fact that there are very few Caribbean nationals, and particularly women, who operate at this level amidst the numerous excellent hotel properties in the wider Caribbean. Prior to this role, I worked at many 5-star resorts, including Palm Island in the Southern Grenadines, where I served as island manager, and I also headed the St. Vincent and the Grenadines' tourism efforts in the UK, taking care of Europe as well. I am pleased today to be here and to see so many Vincentian youths having an interest in the industry. I'm hoping my presentation today will enable you to, 1, see and understand that as we stand at the junction of becoming major players within the industry, that you all must position yourselves, not only as entry-level staff of the many industries which are associated with tourism, but you must position yourself as major decision makers and owners so you can truly influence, protect, and position our product to the world. And 2, to show that indeed there are huge opportunities for entrepreneurship within the industry for our youths. So how did this little girl from Tomoka get here? I came of age in St. Vincent and the Grenadines at a time when tourism and hospitality was not treated as a big deal to our economy. Agriculture, particularly the banana export industry, was our mainstay. Jobs in hospitality were for persons who didn't do too well in school, whatever that means. There were few hotels around, mainly small family-owned, family-run. So the positions available to persons looking to get into the hospitality industry were for line staff, the waiters, the cooks, the receptionists, and such likes. Like most young people at that time whose parents could not afford to send them off to community college in Barbados or wherever else they went for further education, I, after leaving high school with decent enough CXC grades, applied to one of the commercial banks and was given a position. 3 months into that job, a manager there decided I was not to be there, and my stint at the bank came to an end. At the time, I was angry and I was disappointed, and truth be told, I was heartbroken. After all my friends are working in the banks. However, as I stand here today, I've come to appreciate that that manager's decision was my gift from God, because I landed a role at Young Island Resort as a receptionist. I was meeting people from all over the world every day, telling them about our beautiful country and its peoples. Being a fantastic hostess, I was in my element. I felt comfortable. It was very easy for me. I had that same feeling of comfort when years before, at 15 years old, when I was selected as an AFS exchange student to California, I had to stand in front of lots of people every day to tell them about the island, the dot on the map where I was from. One evening, after a very long and challenging shift at Young Island, the owner, who was also the general manager, came to me and he said, "What do you want to do as a career?" Wanting to impress him, the liar in me jumped out and said, "I want to be a lawyer." He looked at me, he laughed, he said, "Rachel, you talk a whole lot, but you ain't a lawyer. You belong in hotel." My heart sang, because there I was being validated by Mr. Vidal Brown, who in my eyes was everything I wanted to be. He was an owner and he was a general manager. He was also a youth from the rural area of St. Vincent, Stubbs to be exact, who rose from being a bartender to a co-owner of Young Island Resort, the Young Island Resort. That wasn't any small accomplishment. So from that moment, I started looking for scholarships and eventually found one through USAID. However, they weren't offering scholarship for hospitality management to students from St. Vincent. Those were reserved for the islands who were big in tourism, Barbados, Antigua, Jamaica. What they were offering to Vincentian students was ecotourism and environmental management. I didn't know what that was, but I sat out, did my research, and I thought, you know what? I just need to get to university. So I'm going to apply for this scholarship. I applied, I got the scholarship, and off to the US I went. I enjoyed the program, but I yearned for hotel. As fate would have it, the school had a hospitality division, and I made friends with every guidance counselor, every professor. I even promised them a little vacation in St. Vincent. And I got to do a lot of courses on the hospitality, hotel management side of things. The rest, as they say, is history, or in my case, her story. As a country, as we position ourselves as major player in the industry, you, the youths of the country, must be ready to make sure that you're equipped with the skill sets and the training to be influential players. You must ensure that we have a seat at the table when decisions are being made about our product positioning, and we must be ready to manage and lead at the highest levels of both the tourism and hospitality sectors of the industry. This therefore means that you must grasp every opportunity and create opportunities for your own self-growth and development. You must be willing and open to new concepts and ideas. Work hard. Forge paths to your ultimate goals. You must make sure that your attitude towards work and life generally is sound and positive. And you must make sure that you exemplify a professional yet pleasant disposition at all times. You might think it is old-fashioned to say, but manners and behavior gets you through the world. But know this, those two personality traits are significant ingredients in the tourism and hospitality businesses. For those of you wanting to go into hotel work, look for opportunities for formal training. Far too often in my role as a GM, I come across young, local, bright people with all the positive energies, and they're the best at their skill sets. Oh, they can bake a cake, I know, I sample quite a lot. They can run a front desk, but they're lacking the theoretical knowledge of things like menu costing, doing budgets, and understanding the marketing side of the business. Hence, training is crucial. Formal training is crucial. Grasp it when it is offered, seek it where it's available. The mentality that we must have is not only do we want to be the line cooks, we want to be the executive chefs. Not only do we want to be the room attendants, we want to be the executive housekeepers. Not only do we want to be the front desk supervisor, we want to be the head of operations, and by extension, we want to be the GMs, and we want a stake in the business. When I was hired at Hermitage Bay, and the owner asked me, well, what do you want as part of your package? I said, I want to own. I want a piece of the pie. I was lucky and blessed enough that he agreed. These are all attainable goals, but we must be prepared. Find mentors, find courses online at local, regional, and international institutions. Befriend people in the industry and set your plan in motion so that when the big companies arrive on our shores with the brand name hotels, we are in a position to say, there is no need to issue that work permit today for the executive chef because we have the talent pool right here in Vincy. On the matter of entrepreneurship, as you young people would say, boy, if St. Vincent have potential one more time. I took the road of becoming a hotelier, but there's so many opportunities where you can be your own bosses and take charge of your own financial circumstances. Today's traveling public has a demographic of persons looking for more than just the beach and the rum punch. There's a whole community of travelers who are yearning for experiences, for cultural awareness and participation. And as a destination, St. Vincent, with its unspoiled natural beauty, colorful and friendly people, and rich culture, is truly sitting on a diamond mine. Look for unique opportunities within your communities and search for your passion. Make it work for you and go brave with prudent judgment. I'll tell you a little story. Last year, my family and I and my best friend journeyed to South Africa for our annual vacation. A group of young men from Soweto, a very depressed part of South Africa, took us on a tour of a cemetery to visit the graves of anti-apartheid icons. Did I go to South Africa for that reason? No. But through these energetic, bright young people and their innovative, colorful, and strategic marketing, we took the tour, and it was the highlight of the trip. And of course, they made some money. So you have to think outside of the box. What about a Vincy home-cooked meal with storytelling and banjo playing? village walks, visiting old churches, houses and schools. Do you know who built the first wall house in your village? And is it still there in the same position? Has it been changed? Is there a story to tell of the people who live there? What about the spend in the mountains tending to our own crops? We're one of 2 producers in the world. And carnival experiences. Visit to the mass camp. Watch the creativity of our young men and women. River cooks. The list is endless. All these are easy to start up, and do not require a lot of capital investment. Use the resources available to you, because believe you me, if you don't get onto it, when the foreign interest comes here, they are going to do it. So be prepared. Let them bring the tourists, and you provide the unique, authentic Vincy experience. Another huge opportunity is that of the Airbnb phenomenon. Some of you might have homes or rooms in your homes, or even a nice piece of land in the mountain, pitch some tent or for a camping trip. Intellectual property rights. I know a lawyer friend here, we're gonna call on you, because this is a big opportunity to make money. Think of it this way. You come up with a slogan, name, or design to go along with any service that you'd like to offer. Register that with the CIPO. Once that slogan, design, brand name catches on and becomes identified with a particular product or service of quality that is memorable, it is indeed conceivable that any of the foreign players in the industry who are coming here to set up shop might want to use that slogan, use that name, use that logo. It is your intellectual property. This is where you make the money. Herein lies the opportunity. They want to use your name and slogan, they have to pay you for it. Do not underestimate the potential here. All these are great avenues for entrepreneurship, opportunities for grassroots tourism, opportunities which you can use to better your economic status and that of your families and positively influence the industry. A few weeks ago, I visited here, and my extended family and I, about 45 of us, journeyed to Darkview Falls. I was in heaven. Oh, the beauty of this country, it's unsurpassed. When we were there, a few buses came with tourists as well. I could not help but note that there wasn't one person there selling some craft, cooking some food, some ital, giving a guided tour of the area, dancing, drumming. And I thought, we are missing an opportunity here. The young people in that area of North Leeward should capitalize on this. Time is limited, and I could speak for a whole year on this topic. That's why I had to make notes to keep me on track. But I hope my conversation with you today has resonated and provoked some thoughts and ideas. Remember, this product is ours. We have been blessed with something that most islands don't. We have 2 distinct products: the white balmy beaches of the Grenadines and the ecotourism potential of the mainland. We who are born here should make sure that we are well positioned to reap the rewards of this gift. Be bold, be courageous. When I picked up the phone years ago and called Mr. Tony Sardine, whom I had never met, but at the time he was the head of the Hotel Association, to ask him if the association would sponsor me an airline ticket to attend an interview in Barbados as a finalist in the Caribbean Tourism Scholarship Fund, I had never blessed my eyes on the good man. In fact, I have never met him up to this day. But he did provide me with that ticket after asking me, "And who are you?" He did provide me with that ticket, and he set me on my way to realizing my dream. As youths, you have to find a passion. You have to find mentors. Use persons in the same organization to help you along the way in assisting you with your dreams. Knock on doors to achieve what you want. By the end of this session, make sure that you collect a business card from every panelist here. It might come in handy for an internship at a 5-star resort in Antigua and helping with the licensing, right? You have to find something that anchors you and bring you back due north. When I was 5 years old at the Tremuka Primary School, the head teacher, as they were called then, gave me a poem to say at the school concert. I learned it in a day and recited it that evening, not knowing what it meant. But later, many years later, I was drawn back to that poem, and allow me to read it for you. It goes, "The heights which great men reached and kept were not attained by sudden flight, but they, while their companions slept, were toiling upwards in the night. Let us not be caught asleep, but be prepared to work hard and accomplish all that we can. We are indeed a mighty race, to paraphrase Marcus Garvey. Don't let other people's opinion of you stop you and determine your path. As one of my South African sisters said to me a few days ago, she said, in talking about coming here, I was telling about the challenges and the inbox messages I was being exposed to. She said, Sissy, you owe your dreams your courage. Be bold and be brave. I look forward to one day meeting some of you as GMs and senior managers of many of the major hotels coming to our shores. I look forward to one day taking that mass camp tour, you know, my carnival girl, and especially a village walk in the beautiful village of Trumoka or Greg's, the Garifuna settlement, which ought to be an integral part of our tourism product. Remember, this island is ours. Love it, own it, and accept the stewardship. You owe your dreams your courage. I thank you for the fellowship and the love.
At this time, we're going to open the floor for questions. However, we are almost out of time. So we can only accommodate approximately 5 questions this afternoon. You're allowed 1 question, and I'm going to ask you to keep it short. While you are lining up at the microphone, and we have microphones up here for the panelists as well, just to recap, our final speaker, Mrs. Brown, highlighted the importance of education and formal training. She reminded us of the importance of manners and behavior. She challenged us to aspire for more, set high goals. And it has been said that the greatest tragedy is not so much aiming high and missing, but aiming low and hitting. And she also shared with us ideas for business and avenues for entrepreneurship, and shared her story. And it so turns out that perhaps one of the best things that can happen to us is getting fired. So at this time, we're going to take the first question.
Yes, good evening. No question. My name is Dave Roberts. But I was so moved and touched by Rachel Charles as I knew her, now Mrs. Rachel Brown. Girl, I'm so proud of you. You know who I am. And you know I played a part. You remember that there were 3 of you, Rachel Charles, Melissa Chobot, and the former NDP Senator Kingston Park, remind me, Julian Ferdinand, his wife. Remember that trio? And that piece I wrote on the 3 of you going out there. I have no question. I am proud. I am very proud of you. And I am on my way out. And I'm happy to know that you're part of that Homestead Resort. I've been to Antigua and Antigua, so I know I'm in good company, and I can now get something back from you.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations, and move to higher heights. I really love you for that. Thank you.
Young people, remember, this is your opportunity to ask questions and make points, so don't miss it.
Good afternoon. My name is Rasoba, and I'd like to congratulate the women on the panel. I'm always very impressed when I see the full involvement of women, because unless the women are totally involved in a society, it remains forever a backward society. And the fearlessness that you mentioned about Jamaicans, because I've been very involved with Jamaicans for a long time, it stems from a lot of things, but particularly from a quote by the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, who says, "With confidence in self, you have won the race before you even ran it." I must add one thing. I farmed in the United States for about 30 years in the state of Vermont. And I introduced a product from Jamaica known as Jamaican Callaloo into Vermont. Never planted in those white communities before. But once I introduced it, all the white farmers ran with it. So I had to think of another way to get ahead of them. So I decided to take my product to New York. Did very well. And there's another Jamaican product that I know I'm going to make a lot of money from in St. Vincent. It's known as the Jamaican Ackee. It's a perfect product. Thank you.
Right there. We're going to have a discussion about that afterwards. The Ackee is mine, okay? Understand?
Thank you.
Next.
Good afternoon. My name is Patrick Knights. I'm a calypsonian and a musician. I'm also the PRO of the existing St. Vincent the Grenadines Calypso Association. I would like to know if we could get some of the expertise of you guys to assist us in the sense of each year we have 5 Calypso tents. The Carnival Development Corporation gives us $2,500 as startup money. It is stipulated we have to have 3 shows. Now, the first show we have would cost us approximately $3,000. The highest gate receipts we ever get is like $1,600 after each shows. Each Calypsonians are required to have at least 2 songs that cost them approximately $2,000 to produce. Out of that 100 Calypsonians that we have each year, they pick 10 persons for the final along with the Calypso Monarch. The first prize is $25,000. Those who don't get picked, the other 90 or so, makes nothing. Over the years, we're unable to fill the Calypso tents, what we call the Calypso tents. Nothing is happening there. Calypsonians are losing money, we're losing hearts. What you all had to say is very inspiring, enlightening, and educational. So I'm just asking if you guys with the expertise give us some kind of indication of if you all are willing to assist us to make some money, because spending $2,000 each year for 2 Calypsos and then you don't get picked. Most of the Calypsonians I know are unemployed, and all CDC thinks that giving us $2,500 is going to do something for us. And I'm saying we need the expertise of folks like y'all to tell us how we could get more people in the tent, because it's the same people comes to the tent each year. And for some reason, the young people, unless you say wine jam and degrade women, they ain't coming in the tent.
Thank
So we need some expertise in that field. I wish you guys would get in touch with the Calypso Association. Let us have a discussion. Thank you.
Hi, good night, everybody. Yeah, this will work. Good night, everybody. Well, I was a bit late, and based on the little bit that I heard, I would just like to commend the panel. Based on what I heard, it was really good. I like the fact that you're female and you're at the top of your game, so it's a good representation. And I mean, it's like something to aspire towards for us young women, and continue to be a figure for us to look up to. Thank you.
Okay, we can accommodate one more person.
I am in fishing, but small fishing business, but want to go bigger. But the problem that we have is access to finance, because I don't have a house worth $300,000 that I could go in the bank and borrow $150,000 so that I can carry my business to a bigger level where I really want to go. My dream. And make some bigger cash that I could send my son to the best university in the world. And I think young people are afraid because they don't want to end up like another bigger bigs. And another problem we have in this country is that we have to remove the I and the me and replace it with the we. Team, because the I alone can't work. It is bad. The I alone is bad for the economy. We have to share our views and bring them together and to come to one conclusion. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your comments. Unfortunately, we are out of time, but I want to just let you guys know that there are refreshments provided downstairs, so you can have an opportunity to meet and greet with the panelists and ask any other additional questions that you might have or any comments that you might want to make. So at this time, I'm going to hand you over to Mr. Diego, who will give us the vote of thanks before we break.
Good night, everyone. Dr. The Honorable Godwin Friday, parliamentarians, members of panel, the young people of SVG, other participants, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant good night to everyone. Well, you all know that the best and beautiful things in this world cannot be seen or touched. And the best are the most, they are most felt by the heart. Thank you is one of them. And such beauty among them. Pleasant good night again. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have the distinct honor and privilege to propose a vote of thanks on this historic occasion. As the President of the Young Democrats, it is certainly a pleasure to welcome and thank you all, especially the many young people here tonight, for participating in the Youth Forum. The theme of this forum, Youth Entrepreneurs, positioning SVG youths to drive economic prosperity, in a timely discussion, and the presence of the many young people in an indication of the importance to which they hold this conversation. Our future is in good hands. Tonight, you will agree that the presentation was of very high standard and met the requirement of the forum. The persons present here and listening either on radio or on the Facebook stream were provided with critical and timely information and advice. On behalf of the New Democratic Party and Youth Arm, the Young Democrats, I would like to thank all the speakers for gracing us with their provoking presentation, and I do hope it set a platform for future discussion. I especially thank our keynote speaker, Mrs. Rachel Brown. Just like to say a personal thank you. A daughter of the soil who adjusted her schedule and traveled all the way from Antigua to share her knowledge and experience with us here today. Let's welcome her with a special round of applause as a Vincent can. The willingness of all the speakers to share their diverse knowledge and experience with our young people clearly demonstrate their commitment to the development of our young people and, by extension, the development of SVG. In this regard, we also heard from Mistress Misha Cruikshank, an entrepreneur. Round of applause, please. Ms. Aria Ledlow, Director Program Development, Commonwealth Youth Council, Specialist in Environment Changes. Thank you. Ms. Ruth Ann Lewis, musician and entrepreneur. Honorable Sinclair Leacock, MP, Central Kingston, entrepreneur, Shadow Minister of Trade, Industry and Commerce, Private Sector Facilitation, Disaster Management and Labor. Let's thank our speaker with a round of applause again. I must also recognize our moderator, Mr. Jamali Jan, who as usual distinguished himself through prudent management of the event. Thank you very much, sir. I must especially thank our beloved leader and president, the Honorable Dr. Godwin Friday, for the wisdom in recognizing the need for this forum and the strength for making it happen. When Simon Sinek said that leadership is not about the next election, it is about the next generation. He certainly had someone like Dr. Godwin Friday in mind. Ladies and gentlemen, join with me in showing our appreciation. An event of this dimension cannot happen overnight. The wheels start rolling weeks in advance. It required planning and a bird's eye for details. We have been fortunate enough to be backed by a team of very motivated and dedicated youths and individuals. I cannot thank everyone enough for their involvement they have shown and the willingness they have expressed to take on the completion of tasks beyond their comfort zones. In this regard, I must also thank Ms. Arusha Young for blessing us with God's presence, Ronaldo Brown for providing the musical interlude, Jayan Allen for the national anthem, Nice Radio for live broadcast, Asbot News Network for Facebook streaming, and the other members of the media. Last but not least, a heartfelt thanks to all our supporters and well-wishers who are listening via Nice Radio or via Facebook Live, who always stand by us, guide us, and motivate us. We as young people are grateful and thank you for gracing us with your presence at this forum. If you have contributed in any other way to make this event the success that it is, I want to say thank you, thanks.